Hello, and thank you for joining me once again for another video on energy vampires. Okay, so today's video could actually change your life, and not because of me, and I'm not saying that I'm a great video creator, far from it, but I mean the content that I'm going to give you today, the content that you're going to receive. If you're not familiar with it, then if you're hearing it for the first time, it's certainly going to change your life, that's for sure. I'm confident of that. Okay, so what I want to talk about in this video is how to empower yourself. Okay, why? Why do you want to empower yourself? Well, I want you to think back to times that you've undertaken tasks that like think about previous days gone by. Think about good days you've had, bad days you've had. Think about when you're doing a particular activity. Okay, whether you're working towards a particular goal. Okay, now I want you to think about the times that you have succeeded, the times that you have failed, the times that you felt satisfied, the times you felt dissatisfied. I want you to compare your experiences, and I want to ask you, what kind of an emotional state were you in, right? What kind of a zone were you in when you succeeded, when you failed, right? Because oftentimes we are more successful when we are in a resourceful state and in an empowered emotional state. Okay, if we're feeling weak, we're not going to do so well. If we're feeling strong, we're going to do very well. It's common sense, right? Makes sense. Yeah, we can all agree on that. Okay. Now, oftentimes, we would be tossed to and fro by the wind, okay? We get on with our daily tasks, we do our thing, we go places, we do things, we encounter our situations and our circumstances, we meet with people, etc. Okay, and we don't do anything deliberate, we don't do anything strategic with our mood, with our state. Okay, it just happens to us. Whatever you're feeling, right? We don't try to take control or mastery over the way that we feel, right? We just feel the way that we feel, and then we get on with it, right? But what if you were to actually put yourself in an empowered state, in an empowered emotional state? What if you were able to do that on demand? All right. What if you were able to turn sadness into happiness on demand? It sounds far-fetched, doesn't it? Okay. But I want to just lay the foundation here, first of all, before we go into the how. Right. Let me lay a foundation. I want you to think of something that we'll all be able to relate to. Do you have a dog? Right. Well, some of you watching will, and some of you won't. But I think that whether you do have a dog or whether you don't have a dog, you're going to understand what I'm trying to say to you here. Okay, so first of all, before we start, let's talk about a well-known psychological study by a psychologist named Pavlov. Most people are aware of his work. Okay, so he did this thing where he set up a trigger, right? He set up an anchor, right? And there's a bit of a spoiler right there. We're going to be talking about anchors today. Okay, so he rung a bell, right? And what he did is he was able, through repetition, right, with dogs, he was able to get dogs to salivate by ringing a bell, right? Because he would put the food there, and then he would anchor that action with the sound of a bell, right? The dogs would salivate. And then eventually, once that anchor was well established as a trigger, he was able to then ring a bell and produce no food, but the dogs would salivate anyway because there was that trigger set up, okay? Now, the other thing I was thinking is, as a dog owner myself, okay, if I was to say to my dog, do you want to go for a walk? I can see him at the other side of the room and his ears pricked up, right? Now, what happens when you say to a dog, do you want to go for a walk? Walkies, what they do is they come alive. They suddenly become empowered, right? they suddenly have a surge of energy. They're up on their feet, they're wagging their tails, they're in an empowered state, they want to go for a walk, they're excited. So they could have been literally, down in the dumps, maybe lying down, like no energy, and you do that trigger, because that trigger they associate with going for a walk. They're excited about it. All of a sudden they have energy and they're empowered. Okay, now what if you could do that? What if you could set up a mind trick, a trigger, right, that you were able to go, I mean, that's dramatic. A dog, it's sleeping the other side of the room, and it's like, it's thinking nothing, it's feeling nothing, and suddenly a trigger, boom, an empowered state, an altered state, just like that. Okay, I mean, that's pretty profound, that's pretty cool, isn't it? That you can, that's pretty powerful, that you as a being can affect another being like that. Take a being and alter its state with one word. Okay, so there's an example of how tone of voice can act as an anchor. Right now, you practice this in your life at the moment, okay? Because like, how many of you listening are triggered by a particular song? Right, we've all got our songs, right? We've all got our music, and there's certain music that they make us feel excited, makes us feel inspired. There's music that makes us feel sad. So then we could be out, and then if that song comes on, it will trigger that emotion and put us in a particular emotional state. Okay, so what I'm about to tell you in this video, it's something that you already experience in your life, but what we're going to do is we are going to learn how to do it deliberately, and that's the key thing right there. So the big question is how can you deliberately alter your state into a powerful, empowered, resourceful state that you will better perform, right? Or maybe not even just to better perform, but to just simply feel better. Nothing wrong in that. Okay, so let's get into it and find out the mechanics of how we do it. Now, for the rest of the video, you're going to want to pause the video at certain points, okay? Because I'm going to ask you a lot of questions, and I'm going to get you to do some work inside your head, right? And to recall certain memories, okay? So as I do that, you're not going to be able to do it effectively if you're just leaving the video to run, okay? So, when I ask you to do something, pause the video, get it straight in your head, right? And then resume the video, okay? So what I now need you to do is to recall a time in your life where you felt totally empowered. You felt really good. You felt good emotionally, mentally, spiritually, whatever, right? You just felt amazing, right? Now, we've all got times in our life where you had a moment that you felt like that. Now, it could have been while you were on a roller coaster at a fairground. It could have been a nice warm day that you had on the beach. It could have been when you were with a particular person. But I need you to recall a memory, and it's going to take some time. It's not easy to do, because I want you to pick the best memory you have. I want you to pick a memory in the past that you felt really empowered, and if you felt euphoric, even better, right? Euphoria is obviously great, yeah? So I need you to do that. Now, for those of you who have difficulty doing that, then I want you to imagine a scenario where you can manufacture that feeling, right? So it might be a journey that you go on in your mind during a meditation, that you go somewhere. It could be space, it could be anywhere, but whether it's an actual experience or a manufactured experience, I need you to come up with something that as you recall it, you recall those feelings of empowerment, okay? So take some time to do that and then play the video again. Okay, so once you have that decided, okay, what you're now going to do is you are going to sit very quietly. You're going to sit very comfortably, okay, and there's work to do now. okay, you are going to need to intensely relive that experience in as much detail as you possibly can. Okay, so whether it be a real past experience or a manufactured one, okay, you need to get in the zone and totally go and watch a tutorial on meditation if you need to, okay, but get completely intensely into that experience in your mind and replay it, okay. And what I need you to do is, as you're replaying it, you're going to turn up the volume, right? You're going to sharpen the image. You're going to enhance the colors of the image. You're going to really exaggerate every aspect of the senses within this experience, right? So think of vision, sound, touch, right? Sharpen, enhance color, like everything involved, make it enhanced, okay, in the movie in your mind, okay, and take note of the feelings that you're receiving, okay. And when your feelings are at their height, okay, once the feelings, as you relive this experience, the feelings will rise up on the inside of you, and you'll start to feel the way that you felt when you actually lived that experience. And when that happens, then we're going to do some anchoring, okay. Now, the mind-body relationship is very powerful, okay? Like, emotions can trigger a physical response, right? Triggers can trigger a physical response. I mean, hey, if you hear something that brings you to tears, you have a physical reaction of tears coming down your face, and that's like triggered by something external, right? Or something internal even, but something is triggering it, okay? So here's what you can do, all right? So you've got this heightened experience, you've relived it, the feeling is back. Now, once the feelings get back and it's at its climax, then you're going to anchor it. So what you're going to do is, you've got to think about, now what I do is like maybe touch my earlobe, pull my earlobe. You could squeeze your thumb and finger. You can, if you've got a sounding bowl, you can make a noise, ping the thing, make the okay. There's a number of things, you could it could be like a piece of music, it can be a touch or an object that you grab or whatever, but you're gonna create up a neuro association, okay. So you're going to associate that feeling with you're going to set up a trigger, you're going to set up an anchor, okay. And then what you're going to do is you're going to relive it again, right? So you're going to do it again, and then you're going to do the anchor, and then you're going to do it again, and you're going to do the anchor, right? And you do that several times. And then after you've done it several times and you feel like you've really achieved it, okay, then what I want you to do is do the anchor, whatever anchor it is that you set up, and you should find that resourceful feeling, that resourceful emotion, that empowered emotion can be triggered by that physical stimulus, okay. So now, okay, you've done that, and you're gonna make it a part of your life. And now when you're going into that meeting, or you're going to see that person who's a little bit difficult, or you're feeling down in the dumps, or you're lacking in energy, yeah, you do that anchor, and those feelings are gonna flood in, right? Those feelings, and it does work. It does work. All right, so it's a lot of information in a short video. I will expand and do more videos of this type of content. But yeah, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. And thank you for listening, and I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.